Apple has just changed the rules, and the MacBook will never be the same again. What is up, everyone? We are back, and I am super excited for today's video, because Apple has just completely revamped one of the most important pillars of the MacBook lineup. It's the MacBook Pro, and this new change is going to shake things up quite a bit. Now, if you guys remember in my last video, I did say that there were rumors of a new 15-inch MacBook Pro being released. Now, we didn't know whether it was going to be an entirely new model or just an updated version of the 14-inch MacBook Pro with a larger display. Well, those rumors were true, as Apple did unveil a brand new 15-inch MacBook Pro, but it's not what some of you may have expected. First, let's talk about the price. The new 15-inch MacBook Pro starts at $2,399, which is exactly the same starting price as the 14-inch MacBook Pro, so no surprises there. But if we take a look at the specs, things start to get very interesting. So with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, Apple is offering two different chip configurations. You can either get the M2 Pro or the M2 Max. Now on the 14-inch side of things, you could only get the M2 Pro. So by default, you're getting the more powerful chip with the new 15-inch model. That's great. Here's where things get a little bit tricky. You see, with the 14-inch MacBook Pro, if you wanted to get the M2 Max chip, you would have to pay $200 more. So the 15-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 Max chip is actually $200 cheaper than the 14-inch version. Now that's already a really good deal, considering you're also getting a larger display. But here's where things get even better. The 15-inch MacBook Pro comes with 2 additional ports.
Ow.
So in addition to having 3 Thunderbolt ports like the 14-inch MacBook Pro, you're now getting a total of 5 Thunderbolt ports. That means you can connect up to 6 devices via Thunderbolt. Also, the HDMI port on the 15-inch MacBook Pro is now twice as fast. It now supports up to 8,000 at 60 Hz and up to 4,000 at 240 Hz. And then when it comes to the display itself, it's pretty much the same as the 14-inch MacBook Pro. It has the same resolution, brightness, contrast ratio, and everything else. The only difference is obviously the size. Now, Apple did make one change to the design of the 15-inch MacBook Pro, and that is the fact that the lid is a little bit thicker. This is due to the larger battery that Apple was able to fit inside. And speaking of battery, the 15-inch MacBook Pro is rated for an insane 22 hours of video playback. That is unbelievable, and it just goes to show how far laptop battery life has come over the past few years. All in all, I think this is a really good move by Apple. They've essentially taken the 14-inch MacBook Pro, made it larger, and given people the option to upgrade to the M2 Max chip for less money. I honestly couldn't ask for anything more. But now I want to hear from you guys. Are you thinking about upgrading to the 15-inch MacBook Pro? If so, which model are you getting? Also, do you think that this new 15-inch MacBook Pro is a better value than the 14-inch model? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I personally love the 14-inch MacBook Pro. I think it's the perfect size. But I can definitely see the appeal of the 15-inch model, especially with it starting at the same price. Either way, I am excited. I am hyped, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the new MacBook Pro. But now, let's move on to the next story, which is about a new report claiming that Apple is finally working on an iPad mini that could launch as early as this year, according to Mark Gurman, who is arguably the most prolific Apple leaker of all time. Apple is actively working on an iPad mini with a larger display. In fact, he says that Apple had planned to release this new iPad mini last year, but the project got pushed back to 2024. However, there is still a chance that it could be released this year. To be honest, I wouldn't mind an iPad mini with a larger display. I feel like the current 8.3-inch model is a little too small. But if we're going to get a new iPad mini, I think it needs to have a couple of things. 1, it needs to have the old display, and 2, it needs to have USB-C. If Apple could give us those 2 things, I think it would be a home run. But anyways, there you have it. Apple has just changed the game with the MacBook Pro, and I am super excited. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.